And you can always tie it to me. I always tie things back to God. He allows us to laugh. He wants us to have fun. He's created all kinds of things. So I think devotionals are good. Put mystery bags down. There's Lego. There's a Lego gallery online with Bible that you use Legos for Bible stories and Bible verses. So there's an idea that I went to and looked at. That's pretty cool, I think, for younger age. And let's see. So anyway, that's some of the things for the littles. You know, their attention span's short. You know, really, they say if 2 years old, their attention span's 2 minutes. You know, and you're doing a story on Sunday. You know, you have to kind of gear up for the older kids, but I think the youngers can hear some of that. And then I gave ideas. Since it was washing the feet, I was like, maybe you should try as a family washing each other's feet before you do your meal today, and ways that they could interact. So it's equipping parents too. So if that spurs any more ideas, or some of you have ideas of what you're doing, please share.
There is there's one other thing that has been all over the youth pages. Is there's something called a Netflix watch party. It's yeah, okay, so you know about it. So it's like an extension of Google Chrome, and you get to do this, but you also get to like watch a movie at the same time. So you're like all talking together online and watching the same movie from Netflix. So that's another thing we're gonna mess around with too.
I think I put that under youth ministry, but yeah, that's true. You could watch.
You can do it with upper elementary, probably too, if you wanted to.
I know a couple of you had shared some things that you're doing with adult Sunday school classes and Bible study via Zoom. Do you want to share a little bit more about that?
We've been doing a Lenten study series, the Adam Hamilton, The Walk. And before the suspension of in-person meetings, we had done a couple of meetings, and last week, or a week ago Monday, several of our folks chose to Zoom in rather than being present in person. And after the suspension, on this Monday, we set it up for everybody on Zoom. And yours truly, the complete Luddite of all things online, was able to stream the video segment using the share function on Zoom. And it went really well. Again, one of our biggest challenges, and these are folks who are primarily in their 70s and up, is equipping all of them or giving them instruction as to how to do Zoom and how to have the appropriate hardware and all of that. And it's their kids have been helpful in getting that set up with them. So it's been a little bit of a process, but it is working. And I think we're in a situation now where we're going to be able to do most of the in-person meetings that we were doing with Zoom or with something similar to it. And it's been a learning curve for that generation of folks in the congregation.
We actually decided to go ahead and do our membership class that was scheduled for Monday night and on Zoom. And everybody showed up. I mean, we had people there, which is one of our bigger classes, and it was really a wonderful experience. And we had to format the agenda differently so we could get to know everyone along with dispensing the information. But people prepared their little journey, and each one had a couple of minutes to share, and it felt good. It still felt good. And, you know, I never get to see anybody up that close. So really to see their face and hear them talk, it sticks. You got a real visual there that you don't get actually in a classroom. But obviously we won't have the joining till we meet again, but we decided, let's do this. Let's just move forward. We did church council last night, and then we do have Bibles on Zoom, which was actually one of our shorter meetings. We don't know why, but we're just glad to see each other. And then we're going to do the Bible studies. I feedback that it has gone well. Anybody else?
I did something a little bit different. When this first started, I had told my Sunday school class that we needed to figure out another way to continue. And like Tom, we were doing a Lenten study, but we had 3 different groups in the church doing it. And my Sunday school class was very hesitant when I talked about Zoom. It was like a deer in the headlights. So I tried to be a little more creative. And we have created an email group. And I send out part of the reading assignment, some scripture to read, and some questions to start discussion, and then tell everybody to reply all. And so we're doing the lesson in segments throughout the week. And each day or so, depending on how much response I get, I'm sending out a new segment. So the people can actually continue to respond to the other ones, or they can move on to the new segments. And there's been some good discussion. It gives people a chance, sometimes people that are not as hesitant to speak up, a chance to type. And I've enjoyed doing it. And I think that, we've got about 12 people that are doing it, which I wish there were more, but I think that that's pretty good for a first time.
That's a great idea. That's the first time I've heard it done like that. And I know one of my meetings, we met like at 7:30 in the morning, and it was too hard for people to get here. So before all this, we were just Uber conferencing. People can just call in and you can just talk on the phone together. It's free. So I've used that for meetings. I don't love it as much, but it is another way for those that just may have the means of doing anything else. They could call in on this Uber conference. I think it's uberconference.com. It's really easy to set up your own account. And then you just tell people the number, your number and the code, and they can just call in and talk. They mute themselves just like on Zoom, or unmute and listen and participate.
I wanted to share a warning that I found on one of my sites that I was using about Zoom. Just that there are people who will go and find your link and they will click into your meeting, and if screen sharing is on, they can share whatever they want, and they've been sharing pretty horrendous things. And so you have to, I just, with my kids, I just make sure I turn off screen sharing, or that I like pause or have the ability to pause participants in case anything happens. But that was just a warning that was brought to my attention that I wanted to bring to yours.
So we had a question come up. What other things are we doing kind of to help cultivate spiritual formation during this time? Especially because so much of what we usually do in church around spiritual formation has to do with like the in-person stuff we do. How are we cultivating that spiritual formation in this time of separation?
I was thinking about that, and always what we learned in at least my seminary and ministry to children and youth, the parents really the key faith builders, right? And so this is an opportunity for parents to maybe step up and start owning that and making some changes in their home that maybe they've paused to do because they've just taken them to church and let us do it, 1 hour a week. So no, I'm saying that everyone is like that, but I see it as an opportunity that God can use. If we give them tools and to use to what it might look like at home, like the faith calendar has a little something every day, like ponder this, God loves everybody. What does that mean? And every day is a little something different that the parent hopefully could now take ownership of that and give that to their kids, because they are the role model. I mean, the kids follow them. They don't follow us. Some do. There's always a small percent that do, but the parents are the main influencers in their lives. So finally, I feel like this is the time for us to just encourage and enrich and give tools, and hopefully something new will click now for them to do at home, even if it's adding a meal prayer that they all wrote together or sing together, or, you know, one of the ideas at meal is they each take turns coming up with a Bible verse to talk over at dinner. Just new ways now that they're missing church, they're missing that connection, but, you know, let's do this at home.
For those of you who are doing children's ministry in addition, or youth and family ministry during this time, what other things are working for you? And maybe what things aren't working?
I can do the what's not working. So, you know, it's just sending an email to the kids, and a lot of our kids we don't have email. They just use their parents' email. And for instance, I sent out there was something that came on our Clergy Mom's website that was a great interactive youth experience online that you sent via email. I sent out 19 emails and got one back. One person engaged. She happens to actually be on this call too. So, you know, she's a mover and a shaker. But so just sending out the link that we normally do to let people know what's going on with youth ministry doesn't seem to be generating a response. So I don't know if parents aren't passing on things to their kids, or if it's just not engaging to kids. So, you know, I don't even know that a Facebook group will work with this group of kids because they don't have Facebook, and they're not online. They don't have phones. So I've got an interesting group of young people that I'm trying to figure out how to connect with them.
That's a valid point. Those are good questions. Good questions, Beth. I was thinking what's changed, and what I'm loving right now is the opportunity now to call the parents, of course with parent permission, to call and actually talk to the kids, either FaceTime or through this messenger that I would have never got here on campus. You just don't have time to visit with each kid. And now there's this opportunity, and the kids love it, that you call them and have a personal conversation. So there's this personal relationship that you can build. Parents are right there by the phone, of course, I love that. That's like my favorite thing right now. Is they're hungry for it. They want to talk to you, and we can keep those connections. So I've been encouraging the youth. Rachel's not fond of it, I don't think, but trying to be able to at least talk on the phone and get a voice versus a paper and a Facebook, and because what people are missing is that personal visual, like we're doing with Zoom, but just being able to hear a voice, someone that they know from church. If they don't have phones, I don't know what to say, but the parents have been eager to allow the few that I've reached out to. I'm going to reach out to more. I realize as I see this opportunity pop up, and parents have reached out, and I've talked to a few of the kids to ask if I can talk to more of the kids now and do some more voice, personal interaction that I would not have got to do here at church.
Sylvia Harris, I don't know if you have the ability to unmute yourself, but I'd love you to say more about what you posted here, because I think that's a really great thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, I can unmute, absolutely. I'm muted because of what I posted. And that's why I've got this on too. I've got 3 kiddos at home. My husband works from home. I have promised him I will not leave my home right now, even though there's no technical need for quarantine. So I'm just, as a parent, you know, listening in, as well as a leader in the church, listening in, trying to find that balance right now, I think is really important. We're all in this weird new place that nobody knows how to manage. And so just keeping in mind that while we're reaching out at as a church, yesterday I had 3 Zoom calls for my kids. 2 of them were at the same time that I also had a Zoom call for school, for myself. And so it's chaos. You know, I'm trying to do the best I can as a parent. I'm trying to do the best I can as a student, as a ministry person, and all of that, you know. So as we're trying to create ways to engage from the church standpoint, just remember that schools are also doing the same thing. And so parents, I'm sure, like myself, are trying to find that balance right now, trying to make sure we keep that faith thing happening while trying to make sure the educational needs are being met. I realize that we're probably looking, as a parent, I'm looking at it going, my kids aren't going back to school this year. I know they haven't made that decision yet officially, but even if they say they can go back next week or on the 10th or whatever, there's a really good chance we won't send ours, just in recognition of the need for an ongoing separation period to be responsible. And so I'm trying to find that balance. We read the Bible every night, and we're rotating who gets to choose the Bible story right now. That's part of what we're doing. Our children's director, Janelle, who's also on this call, has done a really great job of working through posting videos of stuff for the kids to do while they're at home. And so we try to engage there. But as a parent, I can tell you, I'm also not going to be engaging everywhere. They need to be kids, and they need to just kind of run and play and have fun. And if we try to put too much on their plates, they're going to shut down. And so I think we need to remember that balancing is part of what the parents are trying to do right now too, for their kids, for the parent sanity. I rock in the corner every now and then come back out and try to do it all over again. But just keeping that in mind right now, I think, is really important. So just be patient, and keep trying.
My kids are grown, so I have asked parents, the few that reach towards me as far as talking to the kids, picking a time, asking, do you want just the phone call? Do you want FaceTime? And just being careful about that. But I've appreciated learning a little bit more about their world and what they're struggling with in the school. It's overwhelming in a different way at home, especially having to take care of the education now.
Well, and I'm just thinking too about schedule. Recognizing that for me, one of the biggest things as a parent is if you give me a schedule, let me know ahead of time. We're gonna, and try to be creative in the times that you're looking to do live events together. Because, I've got right now, a teacher just emailed while we're on here saying she wants, if we can, at 1 o'clock today to have a story time. I can do that today, but a little bit more heads up would have been nice. So if you're scheduling something, give them some leave time so that they can work it into what they've got going on. I know how full my life is, and I like it that way. But I also know the only way I can maintain that fullness is through scheduling. And I think everybody right now has more on their plate than they're used to. So schedule.
Yeah, I was talking to a parent last night. And I was like, how do both kids do school and able to see their teachers and get all their stuff done? And that was with 2 kids and all the devices needed to do this. And yeah, so it's a different type of management. And I appreciated hearing more about that, the struggles with that. So thank you as a parent. Any more ideas to help us? We need to schedule ahead of time. I was thinking of our Zoom being on a Sunday afternoon, since that's when we would check in with the kids anyway. But I think there'll be some of the things we'll be learning ahead, and what works and what doesn't work. And I'm thinking at this point, we're kind of offering a lot of things, trying to see what would be helpful. And you don't know when you offer these resources what they'll take and what they won't take, but that's okay. The point is that different things work for different people and click at different times in their lives.
We've been seeing a lot of the sidewalk chalk pictures in neighborhoods and people just walking by. So Paige did our first sidewalk chalk drawing, but we've invited our families to come by to get out of their house on a private time when it's just them and their families. The sidewalk chalk is out there. Maybe we need to put some disinfectant out there too. I didn't think about that. But anyway, I'm hoping it's right in front of our sanctuary, and there are probably about 20 big sidewalk panels. And I'm hoping that people will take advantage of that. If not, there's one really cool one out there right now, and I'm going to go add something to it. Every time I'm here, I'm going to add something. But I just think that would get parents and kids out of the house. It would be safe. There aren't any other people. Plus, it would be when we go back, as long as it doesn't rain, when we go back, there'll be all these, I'm hoping, sidewalk drawings. So I have no idea if it'll work, but that was one idea that we had to keep people connected with the church.
Oh, a couple of things before when we were talking about the Bible study is that what we did is that, okay, we make a decision last Friday to close down the church because we have more than 10 people coming to the church. And we decided to give most of the people a class course, how to download Zoom and how we can use Zoom. I was on Friday and Saturday with many people of our congregation teaching them how to use Zoom. We have our Sunday worship on Zoom last Sunday. Usually we have between 30 and 40 people coming to the church. Sunday we have around 27 via Zoom, which was great. And also we experienced Bible study on Monday with the people who come to the Bible study. Another thing, when we were talking about spiritual needs, I make myself a promise. And I am trying to call every member of the church, at least 4 people per day, and talk to them about their needs. If they need anything else, I am available. And it was happening on last Monday. Somebody called me if I knew how to get into the airport in Las Vegas. Well, I didn't have any idea because I told them I use maps to get there. So, but the person, I told her she was going to pick up her brother. If you need any help, call me, tell me where you are, so I can use maps on my computer and I can try to help you. But she arrived in great and came back in great too. So, and talking for the children, we are going to do something this coming Saturday for them. We have a small number of children, maybe compared with other churches. The total is 6 children, and we are going to do some using Zoom, some games on Zoom. So let us see how it works. Yeah.
That's great. We're also exploring how to get music up for our kids from our music teachers. Sherry Paris does the little mini singers, and then we have an elementary, and work with the music director to see if there's a way we can have them do a song to put on the Facebook too, so they can sing along, because I know they're missing their music. That made me think of that when you said that. And on this case, it made me, we're also looking at, at first we were going to have the chapel open so they'd have a place to go, but realized that's not wise right now. So we do have a biblical garden though, and so there's an opportunity for them to visit outdoors. And we have a labyrinth, and I love the sidewalk chalk. So yeah, thinking of things where they could come on their own separate is great. I'll be thinking on that one some more. So if you guys think of some more ideas, it's a great idea for them to come and get out of the house and be at church.
We did, I would just, as y'all were sharing, and Oscar, thinking about where you are too, one of our office administrative assistants, right, her kids are at home, but her school district is not giving them any electronic work to do. So their schooling has essentially stopped. And during this time, she also discovered that one of her kiddos who's in 5th grade can't read. And so it's been kind of this interesting time of figuring out what home education looks like. And I'm wondering, especially for those of you who are working in churches, is there any role for the church to play to help resource parents who might be looking for ways to kind of continue their children's education if their school districts aren't helping them?
We have people in our church who probably could have the time to help tutor. We've had a few that have done that with you, Mom, and gone down to tutor for classes stuff. It could be an offering with all of us at home, another way to resource. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah. Can you share a little bit about what you've been posting regarding Facebook? Because for those of us who can't follow in the chat, I think that's really important stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, our children's ministry has both a private Facebook group and a private Facebook page. So we already had that set up before isolation set in place. So we've been able to use that, and we share it from our children's ministry page to the main church page, as well to allow the older people to kind of see the kids' artwork and Lego creations that they're posting. Some parents have even taken videos of their kids answering the questions that I asked them. But I do think that for videos on Facebook, which is not going to be everybody's mode of ministering to the kids, but you can do videos and you can set them as a premiere. And so they go kind of like a live stream, even though they're pre-recorded. And it looks like it's kind of like a live event, and people can comment on it a little bit as it's playing. But then it saves the video to Facebook, so it's a permanent post. So people can go back in later and watch the videos at any time that they want, because our Wednesday Wilds meets at 6:30 on Wednesday. So that's when I post it, to have a little bit of normality in the routine that people are used to. But they don't have to do it at 6:30 anymore, because they're at home all day. So if you wanted to wait and do it Thursday morning with your kids, or Thursday afternoon, or Friday or Saturday or Sunday, or a week later, like Sylvia, just kidding. You can post stuff as you do it. And I think it's really good for the kids. They were super excited that someone wanted them to do stuff, although this was before teachers have been starting to reach out. So I do realize that kids have a lot more on their plate once teachers and education is really important. And so teachers are looking at ways to share stuff. And this was before that really kicked off. So they might not have as much time to do it, but it's an option for people to do. And we just do a Bible story and a Lego build, and I give them a craft idea, and I'm just picking crafts that people most likely have the supplies at home. So bearing that in mind, giving parents a break, making it quite simple, but trying to get people connected.
I know you guys all have tons of ideas. I don't know, but we made these resurrection eggs, which you could buy, but this was before you could buy the kits with those eggs that they already have at home. They can number them and decorate them and do the Easter story. You can Google instructions on how to make this, but some things like this we're going to do for bringing Easter home for the kids. And maybe you can email or chat other ideas, but they're going to already have the eggs. So once they do the egg hunt, they could actually create with their empty egg carton a resurrection story that they could actually hide and find and do the story that way.
Yeah, I think Easter, maybe Good Friday is going to be a challenge. And we are not so sure how to do that yet, but we will find a way to do it.
I know for Friday, it's that contemplative day. Sometimes maybe encouraging them to set up a home setting of a candle and a Bible and inviting devotion. We're talking about Monday, Thursday too with the communion, and figured we'll still offer it on video, but invite them either ahead of time or on the screen to pull out some bread and juice or water and orange juice or whatever they got and join us in doing communion together on our sharing for that service online.
It's just about a perfect segue for our public service announcement for tomorrow. We are going to be, tomorrow's community conversation is all about ideas for Easter and Holy Week, how to do this in an alternative setting. And then Friday, we're going to be doing a community conversation on how to promote giving. You'll need to register for both of those the same way you registered for this. It'll be the same format, but we hope to see you back.
Does everybody have to have a Netflix account in order to do a Netflix watch party?
Yes.
How does one go about setting up a private Facebook page?
We have a church Facebook page, and so our communications director sets it up through there. I mean, that would be primary. If your church doesn't have a Facebook page, I know before some of that happened, I set up private group in my own Facebook and managed it through there. That's my secondary choice, but I have had to do that before when the church wasn't ready to do it differently. Anybody else? Thoughts?
So if I just go onto Facebook, how do I set up a private page?
Off the top of my head, I can't tell you step by step, but I can tell you that you can usually Google that exact question, and usually step by step instructions will come up. That's, off the top of my head, that's the best answer I have without just going in there and messing with it.
Otherwise, you can call Rachel. She'll step you through it.
I'll help you figure it out if you need to.
There's an alternative. Go to YouTube, put there how to create a group, and voila, you may be able to do it.
And of course, our trusted, incredible, amazing Director of Communications, Christina Dilbo, whose email address I will post in this. Please feel free to email her. She can always help you out with super technical things and walk you through how to do that. Or she will direct you to a staff member who can.
And Beth, one last comment. We are in the very early infancy stages of Zooming. I did my first Zoom broadcast Sunday morning, and I used the free method or the free account because I hadn't gotten the conference account set up yet. And they are absolutely dead serious when they say 40 minutes, because there were people that logged in even before I logged in, and I logged in 2 minutes before, and in 33 minutes, it was done. It was shut off. And so I didn't quite get to the end of my sermon, but the folks, definitely got the gist of the message. I would encourage people, if it's not too late, to contact Christina and buy the pro version, because that gives you, I think it's an hour video, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's not too late. And remember, it's just $10 a month right now. You will need some information in order to finish the registration process for your church. But along with Bob, I would absolutely recommend you go ahead and set up with Christina, take advantage of that Zoom account.
They do require the full year's payment up front.
So that's $120.